When you've been lying about something for so long, it becomes second nature. You think you're gonna get the truth in a town like this? When you've been lying about something for so long, it becomes second nature.
Do you see the beauty of it? The inevitability. You rise, only to fall. You, Avengers, you are my meteor, my swift and terrible sword, and the earth will crack with the weight of your failure. Purge me from your computers, turn my own flesh against me. It means nothing. When the dust settles, the only thing living in this world will be metal.
You remember me?
How you doing tonight?
Doing well, officer.
Can I see your driver's license, registration, and insurance, please?
Of course. My license is right here, my wallet. It's all right, son. You remember the night in July?
Hands up!
Hey! Wait! Put the phone down! Put that phone! Sorry, it's a phone! It's a cell phone! It's just a cell phone! You knew he was unarmed.
Push in the car and put your hands in the air! Officer, please, he's just a kid!
You pointed your gun at him. Okay, get out of the car, son. Easy. You pulled the trigger.
Put the phone away! Put the phone away!
The grand jury determined that no probable cause exists to file any charges against Officer Randall.
This is my son. This is my little boy. You took that from me. The world took that from me. Today we make that right. Hear me when I say this, because I'm only going to say it once. Don't stop filming.
You should just give up now.
Why are we the only people in this country that are expected to do things without violence?
I didn't mean to kill your son!
What you did.
I did what I was trying to do!
I just want justice. That's all I want. This is your jury. The deciders of your fate. Today, you will be tried for the murder of my son. You scared? Are you afraid?
So begins the end.
Now, all you black folks, I suggest you get away from all these white folks. Not you, Stephen. You're right where you belong.
If you have never seen me before, you're new to my channel, hello, my name is Sydney Black and I'm a black girl with naturally blue eyes. I wanted to talk about my eye color in this video today because recently I've been getting a lot of really aggressive and rude comments that are kind of disguised as positivity and encouragement, and it's really just been getting under my skin. Okay, so today I wanted to talk about my eye color. I honestly have never really done any research or cared much to know why my eyes are blue. I just never really cared. I figured it was something to do with my genetics because my mom has one blue eye and one brown eye. So I just figured I just got them from her, and that was good enough. That was a good enough explanation for me my entire life. But lately I've been getting a lot of really aggressive comments, people telling me why don't you just be proud? What you should be happy with the brown eyes God gave you. And I don't know if this is just the ego in me that gets really upset about this, but it's how dare you tell someone who they should be or what they should look like. Just doesn't work. I was investigating why these comments were upsetting me so much Then it made me think, like, why do I have blue eyes? Like, where did this come from? Like, what is this about? So I was born with gray eyes. When I was born, my eyes were gray. And I've heard that this is kind of common for babies. Like, you usually don't get the pigmentation in your eye until a little bit later. I could have made that up. Don't quote me. But my mom says that my eyes were gray, like they were really, really light blue. And then later they kind of got the pigmentation that they have now. I'm not sure if the spots in my eyes were always there. Like I have like these like spots. I look so stupid right now. I have these like spots in my eye, if you can see. I'm not sure if those were there or they came later. I don't really know. But they started out gray and then they were blue. My mom has one blue eye and one brown eye. So this eye on me has a lot of brown in it. And I think this eye was supposed to be brown like my mom's. And then she has like a blue eye. And in her brown eye, she has like blue spots at the bottom.
You try walking around the world with a brown and blue eye with no eyebrows. It just, no. Just a little bit.
I kind of do.
No, you have two of the same color eyes.
This one's mainly brown. This one?
No. I got one blue and one brown. You should see babies when they look at me. I freaking scare them. They're just...
I also have two younger sisters and they both have brown eyes, and then my dad has brown eyes, and no one else in my family has blue eyes. It's really just me and my mom. As far as I know, it's just me and Mom Dukes. Me and Mom Dukes. Me and Mom. So recently I decided to look it up. I like Google searched it. I typed in black people with blue eyes, I think. I found a couple of interesting web searches about it. The first one that I found talked about how most people, well, every person with blue eyes essentially is related.
Every person with blue eyes essentially is related.
Every person with blue eyes essentially is related.
Technically speaking, people who have blue eyes are all cousins.
Technically speaking, people who have blue eyes are all cousins.
Technically speaking, people who have blue eyes are all cousins.
The type of blue eye that they're referencing is like the kind of really bright crystal blue, like almost like a piercing blue. People like Jesse Williams or Vanessa Williams were the black people that came up in that search. And I honestly kind of can see how Jesse Williams and Vanessa Williams might be related. Like they kind of look like as is, I don't know. They also look mixed to me. Like they look like their parents are not full black. I would always get asked when people would ask about my eyes, like, what are you mixed with? Like, where are your parents from? Where are you from? And I would always just say Denver. Like I'm from Denver. My dad's from Michigan. So today I have my parents and they're not happy with me. They look miserable.
Pass.
Booger can't be that bad. You can still eat the booger.
Ew, Dad.
How would you know?
Both of my parents are black, and I never understood why people would ask me if I was mixed, because I don't think I look mixed. Like, do I look mixed? I don't think I do. So that was the first article I found on Google, and I was like, oh, you know, like, I don't really think this is me. Like, my eyes don't look like that one, and I'm darker complexion than these people, so I don't think this is why my eyes are blue. So the next article I found talked about Wonderberg syndrome, which I've had a couple people comment that below on my videos and tell me that they think I have Wonderberg syndrome. And I've never really looked into it, again, because I don't care. But since I was doing research, I decided to click and see what it was about. So basically, Wonderberg syndrome is a mutation in the genes that changes the pigments in your eyes. It can change the pigments in your hair, in your skin. There are 4 different types, I think. The first type is people who report having spots in their eyes or on their face or in their hair. And then they usually have very like wide set eyes. So their eyes are kind of like spaced far apart. The second type of Wonderberg syndrome differs from the first because people don't have the wide space in their eyes. They still have the spots, like their eyes can still be a lighter color, or their hair or their body. But what's interesting about number 2 and why I think I have Wonderberg syndrome number 2 is because people with number 2 Wonderberg syndrome suffer from a hearing loss, and I'm deaf in my left ear. Like I can't hear absolutely anything in my left ear, nothing. It says that the person with Wonderberg syndrome who suffers a hearing loss might have had it since birth, or it might have happened like as they were a child. So people with type 2 Wonderberg syndrome reported hearing loss as well as having spots and stuff in their eyes. Honestly, when I was reading this, I was kind of just like, can't believe I never knew this. Like no one ever talked to me about it. And maybe it's just that like the doctors that I went to didn't really know. It says it's a really rare disease. So only 1 in 40,000 people are affected, and around 2 to 5% of all those cases have deafness. So within Wonderberg syndrome, I'm also like of the small percentage of deaf people. Though rare, Wanderberg syndrome may be common in family because it is genetic. So my mom for sure has it because she has heterochromia, which they say is also a part of. People closest to me don't ever really bring it up either. Like, it doesn't matter. It's just a feature about me. Technically, it's a genetic abnormality. It's a disability. My eyes are blue and I'm deaf. Having blue eyes does not make me any more special or different. Sure, it's rare, but I'm also deaf because of it. So that is it for this video. Honestly, just talking about my eyes and what I've uncovered. I would love to hear below what you guys think. If you've met any other people with blue eyes, I have seen the 2 twin little girls who have blue eyes. They look like me and my mom. Like, one of them has heterochromia, one blue and one brown. The other one has blue eyes.
Since we live in a very naive world run by the scum of the earth in albinos, anybody with straight hair, who have no knowledge, no wisdom, no common sense, empty on the soul. If you notice, when you go across, if you're a black person dealing with albinos, anybody with straight hair, it doesn't matter what name they come in. Some of them call themselves Mexicans when they are not really Mexicans. And we're going to show you the true origins of all albinos, anybody with straight hair, from this point on in the video. But if you're a black person and you deal with a lot of albinos, anybody with straight hair, it doesn't matter if they call themselves Orientals today, because they are all the same. And we're going to show you that history on why they are all the same, even though they don't look the same. They weren't always the same, but today they are the same. It doesn't matter what ethnicity they claim, whether they say they are Hispanic, Latina, who are not the Mexicans, they are not from Mexico. And the one thing I like to explain is this: the only people in the world who are very comfortable wherever they find themselves, they're not interested in their history, they just believe what they're told, are albinos, anybody with straight hair. This is something that's so peculiar to only albinos. If you tell a black person you're from Africa, do you know what the next question is? He's gonna ask you, where was he before he was from Africa? Because black people who were created by the Creator have that instinctive knowledge that there is more to their origins than where they find themselves. This is common across every black person that you find. Every black person wants to know where he originated from. If you tell him, okay, you are Black American, he wants to know, okay, where was I before I came to this place? He's always interested. There's a lingering mindset to know their origins, where they really come from, right? Okay, you say I'm African. Okay, where was I before I was African? Because they understand that people don't just happen. There's an origin story, and they're all searching for that origin story. But the only people in the world who are not interested in that history, they've been told they are Europeans. They believe, yes, my father was a European. He was from Sweden, and I am from Germany. I am mixed. I got Swedish and German and English blood. Stupid idiots with no common sense. The only people who believe in their origin story and believe that they are where they come from, right, are albinos, anybody with straight hair. Why? Because when you are a child of Satan, this world is all that you think of. And you believe whatever stories that you've been told because you have no mindset of that there is eternal life, or that there is an origin story that surpasses the physicality of the world that you see. This is what is consistent with every albino, anybody with straight hair, the scum of the earth, those who do not know the commandments of the Creator, the name of the Creator. They do not seek after it. This is their story. They believe what they've been told, and they actually believe that it's true. This is the funny thing, because when ignorance believes, in all the stories that is being told in which albinos, anybody with straight hair, the scum of the earth, believe, that means there is so much wickedness. Because they'll believe anything and do anything as long as they believe that story. Every albino, anybody with straight hair, believes that his origin story is where he found himself. The idiots who call themselves Hispanics or Mexican or Latina, either from Mexico or from South America, actually do believe that their origin story is from there, that is where they're from. They're from the cities that they claim. But a black person will never do that. They always question their origin story. Even among the so many myriads of lies that black people have been told how they got to where they are, they always question the origin story. But they have never taken another step further, because so many black people have been on our channel for so long and have heard what we've been saying. They've never taken the step further to find out the origins of where they all came from. And starting with this video, we are going to reveal the origin of all albinos, where they come from down to the dot. And then anybody else who's interested in that history to know the origin stories of all the other ethnicities will start that journey if they want the truth. Because here's one thing I have to tell you, and we've been saying it, but people still don't get it. So we always have to repeat these things over and over and over again until it sinks into their minds and memories. We've been saying on these videos, as you've been listening, that the people who existed before the flood and the people who existed after the flood, that their descendants, right, are still here. And that everybody is a representation of the people who lived in the past. And we said that if you were to look for somebody like Moses, that his descendants are still here, but they do not know that they are of the lineage of Moses. Why? Because of albino, anybody with straight hair supremacy, which is Satanism, has covered their minds not to know their history. Right? We said that. Now, what we have to say again, so it now sinks into your mindset, because people still don't get it. Every ethnicity, pay attention to the words now. Every ethnicity mentioned in the Bible are still here. The names of those ethnicities were changed by Roman Christianity and then by albinos, anybody with straight hair, when they came into power, when they were helped by Africans to come into power. But the ethnicities of the Bible which you read about, all the ethnicities, the Egyptians are still here. The Greeks are still here. The Romans are still here. The original Ethiopians are still here. The original Arabs, the children of Ishmael, are still here. The Assyrians are still here. The Moabites are still here. The Moabites are the children of Lot, okay? Which were known as Moab and as Ammon. But all together, they call themselves the Moabites. They are still here. The Syrians are still here. They haven't gone away. All right? And all the nations mentioned in the table of nations in the book of Genesis, they are still here. They have not gone away. But our eyes have been covered up by Satan. All right? And their children in albinos, the scum of the earth, anybody with straight hair, who rewrote and changed those names to the names that we now call them as we say. Because, for example, let me make you understand something. The Egyptians did not call themselves Egyptians. The word Egypt is a Greek word. Does that make you understand what we're saying right now? So it just seems like right now Black Americans are called Black Americans, but they never call themselves Black Americans. Albinos, anybody with straight hair who wrote that history, call them Black Americans. So if somebody calls you by a name that you do not know and identify yourself as, you will not know that that is who you are. So the people who are called Egyptians, who are still here today, do not call themselves Egyptians. So they would not know that the history of Egypt is talking about them. Do you understand that? So that is how history is written out, because the people writing the history are not the owners of the history. They are just writing about other people. So, getting back to what we were saying, there are so many stories written for us which does not serve the purpose of truth. So, getting back to what we were trying to say all along is that if you as a Black person are dealing with albinos, anybody with straight hair, you have to deal with a lot of naivety, a lot of stupidity, a lot of lack of knowledge, a lot of no common sense. And all albinos, anybody with straight hair of every ethnicity, have the same behavior across the board. No difference. They have the same exact behavior. They lack conscience. They lack thought. They are very, very stupidly emotional, but in a very negative way. What does that mean in a very negative way? An albino, anybody with straight hair, emotions are wicked emotions. They are only going to lead to death. They are only going to lead to injury, because they are so weak because of years of albinism and inbreeding, because inbreeding makes you senile. It makes you not to have an ability to think, and we've explained this before. For example, in roll call, in which we gave you an example, that an albino follows laws to the letter because they have no common sense, because inbreeding makes you senile. Years of inbreeding before they came out, by the help of Black people, especially Africans, who went back and trained albinos, anybody with straight hair, and taught them what they ought to know. Because you've heard these stories before. Louis Farrakhan always likes saying it, but Louis Farrakhan is covering up for albino supremacy because he works for them. But you've heard him say that before. But this is the obvious truth. Africans trained albinos and brought them out of the dark ages. We're not just saying this, we are going to show you with proof, because everything we say is based on facts and proof, historical proof, which still does exist, but is kept hidden, and is kept hidden for a purpose which you're going to find out by the time we get to the legends of roll call at the end. So Africans today and Black people, whom albinos, anybody with straight hair, look down upon, right, oppress and mistreat, are the ones who trained albinos and brought them out of their caves and terrible lifestyles that they lived. But why did these Africans do this? Because if you seek power in this world, as it has been known right from time, if you seek power in this world, you have to go to the children of Satan, who had the knowledge of their father Satan, who are albinos, anybody with straight hair. And someone's gonna say, huh? Wait till you get to that part, but just keep on listening for now. So going back to what I was saying, if you deal with albinos, anybody with straight hair, you're going to deal with a lot of naivety, because they are senile. Inbreeding makes you senile. And they all have a certain way of thinking and belief system which has been ingrained into them, because without this belief system being ingrained into them, the world would not be the way it is. It would not have believed all the nonsense and bullshit that we believe today. So the reason why you're looking at the screen, and the reason why we played a video for you, which you started this video, is because albinos who have made stupid black people who actually think that they should be following after albinos so that they can have some of the rub-off of the success that they have in this worldly system which has been built by Satan. They actually believe that there are certain constructs about people in which only albinos, anybody with straight hair, do have. So what is believed in popular culture, right? When we say popular culture, it means the bullshit stories that people believe today, which is oppressing and killing society and harming human beings in black people and helping them to be trampled upon by the naivety and stupidity and wickedness of other black people who help albinos, anybody with straight hair, supremacy to succeed. They have ingrained into humanity that, for example, that blue eyes are only consistent with albinos, anybody with straight hair. That's some of the concept that you believe that is bandied around. So albinos in themselves, if they're trying to describe, let's say, a Caucasian, the so-called idiot white man, the scum of the earth white man, they're gonna say, oh, he has blonde hair, blue eyes. You know, I just love blue eyes. That is what they're going to tell you in their description of what a Caucasian is supposed to look like. But nobody has ever told you that black people also have blonde hair. This is a fact. Get on your search engine. You know, we don't have time to show you the pictures on this one. Get on your search engine. Type in your search engine, Solomon Islands. Solomon Islands. You heard it, right? Type it. Look at the people who claim to be on Solomon Islands. There are black people. You'll see them with blue eyes. You'll see them with blonde hair. You see them with red hair. You see them with every color of hair. That is believed that the idiots, the scum of the earth albinos, anybody with straight hair, that they are the only ones who have these features. Because albinos have twisted the world upside down and made us to believe that albinos are the standard of humanity and that black folk came from albinos, and they have twisted the Bible up and made us believe these stories for so long, and nobody has ever sat down to question the idiocy. When in natural order, let's just give you what you see naturally every day with your eyes. When a black person procreates with an albino, what do the children come out like? Do they come out to be more albino, or do they come out to be more black? You see it every day. But because of satanism, witchcraft, demons which albinos have carried, what they have wrote down in the book and tell you every day makes you not to believe what you see with your own eyes, which is fact. That is the meaning of a deception. That is the meaning of witchcraft. That what you see with your eyes, you deny it, but you believe what you're told, which is not based on facts. That is witchcraft. And who bewitched you to believe that nonsense? Albinos, anybody with straight hair, the scum of the earth, the children of Satan. Because everything white is of Satan. So, common knowledge today, or stupidity I should call it, has made us to believe that there are certain features associated with only albinos. But the only certain features that are definitely associated with albinos, is the fact that they have straight hair, they have long torsos, they have short limbs, they stock up more body fat and age real quick. Thus, that is the only common traits that you will find across every albino. Anybody with straight hair. Besides that, they got nothing else. They got nothing else to offer you but their stupidity. And remember, as we've said, we've shown you before this. Albinism cannot succeed without black people. The reason why albinos have lived this long is because black people keep procreating with them and keep giving them carbon such that their next generation has some carbon to keep on living and oppress the people that they got the carbon from. If black people did not procreate with any albinos, because here's what happens. When a black person procreates with an albino, when the children are born, they always tend to believe that they are more albino than black. This is what happens with the mixing of ethnicities or the mixings of the racial construct of black and white. When a black person marries and procreates with an albino, when the children come out, they want to tend to be more or go to the side of where their albinism comes from more than associate with black people. Why? Because it is Satanism. Satanism makes you to deny your blackness. It makes you seek to be an albino. This is why black people bleach themselves. Because in their mindset, because most black people in their mindset who do not keep and follow the commandments of the Creator, they have the mindset of Satan. And Satan makes them understand in order for you to get traction, to get the worldly success that you seek, you have to attach yourself to whiteness. So they start bleaching themselves as Michael Jackson did. All right? They start wearing white. That idiot in Michael Jackson never had vitiligo. If he had vitiligo, as he claimed he had, his family members should have also had vitiligo. He would not have been the only one in the family with that so-called disease or trait. His mother had 6 or 7 of them. But the idiot bleached himself. And what else did he do to show you that it was not just his skin? He started straightening his hair, right? Because for black people who are in the occult, they understand that if you have to get any kind of demonic power, which is satanic power, through demons, which are white, that you have to associate yourself with more whiteness. That is what Michael Jackson did. That is what every black person in this world does to have power. That is why, if you notice, the so-called voodoo priests, okay, and people who practice African spirituality, what color do they wear? They wear white. Let's show you pictures before we continue on. So here is an image, and you can get on any search engine and do your search of Haitian voodoo priestesses or people who celebrate voodoo as a religion in Haiti, right? Which is actually a black nation in the Caribbean. If you look through all the images of the people who actually are involved in this demonic possession, all right, which is actually demonic possession, the practice of voodoo, you will notice that they all wear white. This is a picture right here that you're seeing. If someone is possessed normally, what do? You'll always see them show you the white in their eyes. But as we've told you, the natural color of the human eye is not white. It's because of all the inbred food that people eat, which they do not tell you it's inbred. And because as a baby, as a child, when you get born in the hospital, in the medical institutions, which the doctors wear white because it is a possession of Satan. White connotates nothing more but gives you demonic energy. That is why doctors wear white. The drugs that they give you, especially the drugs in the hospital that they give you, what color is it? It's white. That means when you're taking those drugs in, as we have told you, these drugs do not cure any disease. They only alleviate it. And what color are those drugs? They are white. Do you understand what we're trying to say so far now? So if you notice, in every religion that says that they are in worshiping, right, and they have access to the supernatural, which is nothing but a distortion of nature. It's not supernatural, right? Satan distorts nature and people call it a miracle, which has to do with demonic possession. They always wear white. The Catholic priests wear white, right? And this is a picture that we're showing you. When we scroll through this picture, look at them right here. They're all wearing white. It says, gathering each year, hundreds of voodoo followers travel to the small suburb of Souvenirs, Gonavers, 106 miles north of Port-au-Prince. Port-au-Prince is in Haiti, right? And they're all wearing white. Because it's been known right from history, right, that in order to attract demons, in order to have the power of Satan, you must connotate yourself with whiteness. So the black idiots who went and taught, right, albinos, anybody with straight hair, and removed them from their caves and dirty, smelly environment, which still remains the dirtiest place in the world today, and brought them out and taught them, and they came into Europe and North Africa. And from North Africa, they came into North and South America in the 1850s. If you calculate 1850 from the year that we are right now in, which is 2021, right? It is nothing. So all the albinos, anybody with straight hair, who have made you to believe that they existed in North and South America in the 1600s and made slavery to be what it is and enslaved black people, told you a lie. They only got into North and South America in the 1850s. And we're going to show you all that. So stay calm and continue listening. All right? If you notice, the reason why these idiots, these black Africans, who are all under a spell, went and took care and trained these albinos, the scum of the earth, to have some knowledge, which they use now to run the world and run black people and oppress them through lies. Okay? The reason why they went there is because in order for you to have the power of Satan, you must associate yourself with whiteness in everything. And everything white is evil. It's demonic. So that is why they went and removed albinos from where they were and trained them and gave them the ability to come into the world today. Because we are at the precipice of the end of the world. So evil has to be spread worldwide. And the only way it can be done is by what? By albinos, albinism, anybody with straight hair. The Creator warned all of us. For those who are seeking after the commandments of the Creator, to stay away from albinos, anybody with straight hair. So as you can see right here, these people are wearing white and they are all black. It says Haitian voodoo followers with blood-covered clothes from an animal sacrifice dance while taking part in the annual voodoo ceremony, which is nothing but Satanism. It goes on to say, now pay attention to how these people know the truth, because the truth is always going to be right in front of your face. But unless you hear a high priest tell you, you're always going to be covered up in a spell of Satan, that even if the truth which we see, just like we told you earlier, when a black person procreates with an albino, the children come out more black than being an albino, which shows you that black is the dominance. Black is the dominance nature of humanity. But people rather believe the stories that the people in the Bible that they read about are albinos. Can you believe that? The people of Scripture, albinos are in the Bible. But the dominant ethnicities, the dominant cultures, the dominant empires which you read about in the Bible are black. And they are 95% black in the Bible. Now, reading here, it says, men and women could be seen dancing outside the temple, having stained their white clothes. Did you see that? White clothes. Why would it mention that specific part? Because in order for you to have the power of Satan, you must associate yourself with whiteness. Otherwise, you won't have it. If you're looking for the worldly success of this world, it is the reason why black people marry and procreate with albinos, because in their mindset, they are now associating with success, but it is the success of Satan. Let's continue on. So getting back to what we were trying to say, a lot of people refuse what they see with their eyes and rather believe what they are told because of albinos, anybody with straight hair, the scum of the earth, who have made them to believe these lies because they follow after Satan. Anybody who follows after Satan will always have to love albinos, anybody with straight hair. So remember what we've told you. Anybody who follows Satan will always have to follow after albinos, anybody with straight hair. And remember what we said. Your action tells you who you are. Doesn't matter what you say with your mouth. Your own actions tell you who you are. So if somebody says that they love the Creator, but they love whiteness, they love albinos, anybody with straight hair, they associate their lives, their whole lives are governed by albinos, anybody with straight hair. They are married to one. They procreate with one. They have albino friends, but they tell you that they love the Creator. They are lying from the pits of hell, and they are going to the lake of fire. Your actions tells you who you are. Period. If they make an active decision to procreate and be with albinos as a black male, it means that they are children of Satan as well, because they hate themselves. Like we've explained before, if a black man makes a conscious decision, because it's a different case, because black people or black males in general love women, right? So they could get attracted to an albino, right? And maybe in the heat of the moment, they had sex and she gave birth. That's fine. It happens. But if you see a black man make a conscious decision, marries, procreates, lives with an albino, anybody with straight hair, scum of the earth woman, who does not follow after the commandments of the Creator, he himself hates his blackness. Why? Because if you love yourself, you will want your children to look like you. And you as a black male who's married and procreated with an albino, scum of the earth woman, the child of Satan himself, do not want your children to look like you, because when the children come up, they are not going to be fully black. You have given your seed to the devil. It means that you are a child of Satan. Now, someone who hears that can say, oh, I was deceived, I did not know. Well, why would you go to such lengths to make your children not to look like you? Because the children now born, they are not going to identify themselves as being black. That is what happens. They are going to define themselves as being albino because of all the false success that's associated with albinism. anybody with straight hair, which the black mindset has been made to believe. So, as we have explained to you, when a black male makes that conscious decision to procreate, have children, and marry an albino, it means that he hates himself. Now, someone's going to say, why are we so specific about black males? Because all genetics in humanity comes from black males. They are the ones responsible for making anything the way it is today. It's not black women. Black women just follow after what black males do. Because you have to understand this. If you ever read scripture, the daughter to any man, the man was responsible for his daughter. So if his daughter acts any type of way, the responsibility for the behavior, besides the fact that all genetics comes from the black male, and that a daughter born to a black man is only a representation of the black man in the feminine form, you are responsible for your daughter's behavior. That is the truth as a black man. But today, because albino supremacy has ripped families apart, all right? And now children are now custodian of the state. People who are supposed to instill in them the knowledge into their black children as daughters cannot do that anymore. So now a lot of children born have the mindset of albino supremacy. Because why? The black male has been emasculated. Because the world is run on feminism, which is an opposition of masculinity to the creator. So that's why we hammer on black males. Black females just do as the black males show them. If a black man is effeminate, right, is not a real man, has no knowledge, he can't instill anything into his black daughter. So when his black daughter goes off and marries and procreates with an albino scum of the earth man, the child of Satan, it's because that's all the knowledge she's got. Because if you leave your children to this world, all they are going to get taught is albino supremacy. They're only going to get taught whiteness. They're only going to get taught satanism, which is feminism. That is how it works. So when you read in the scripture, the responsibility of a daughter's behavior was placed on the man. If a daughter wanted to get married to anybody, the father would have to approve it. If the father did not approve it, the daughter would not be able to get married. But it doesn't work anymore that way today. Why? Because the commandments have been changed from albino supremacy. The Levitical priesthood no longer does exist. Because at the end of the day, the person who told you the truth, which you would refer your judgment and your cases to, would be the high priest. And he would be the one who would be the final say on whatsoever is happening. But all that has been wiped away, because in order for Satan to succeed, the natural order which the Creator set up has to be destroyed for the success of his children, who have made up now 90% of the world population, including black and albinos, who are now children of Satan. So remember, albinism came from black people. So that does not mean that black people are not evil. Oh, they are the craziest evil that you ever find. So continuing on to this story, since we still can't get off the bat, is what we are trying to show you is that so many things that people do believe about black people, especially albinos, anybody with straight hair, and other black folk, stupid black folk who get caught up in albino supremacy, think that certain features that identify albinos, anybody with straight hair, the scum of the earth, the children of Satan, actually only belongs to them. But when you find out the truth, that albinism came from black people, then you will know that all the hereditary traits are inherent, are domiciled in black people. So the reason why you're looking at this picture is because a lot of people believe that black people do not have blue eyes. They associate blue eyes only with albinos, anybody with straight hair, which is not true. A lot of people believe that black people do not have green eyes, but this is not true. A lot of people believe that black people do not have almond or hazel eyes. This is not true. But what is the reason? That is the reason why we are here looking at this picture. And before we read about this particular article, it's about a YouTuber. You can go look her up. Her name is Sydney Black. The Sydney is spelled C-Y-D-N-E-E Black. She has naturally blue eyes, which she gets questioned for a lot. So that's why we played you that video earlier to see that her own mother does not just have blue eye, she also has a brown or black eye. She has one brown or black eye and one blue eye. So why do black people, so the question we're trying to get at right now and answer is, why do people have blue eyes, right, which are not normal? The normal human eye is black or dark brown. So if you have blue eyes, if you have gray eyes, if you have almond eyes, you have hazel eyes, and you have green eyes, those are not the normal eye color that you should have. Because today, those eye colors are associated with beauty. It's an abnormality. And that is what we are trying to answer in this particular section of the video, because we promised earlier we would answer it and we didn't get around to it till now. So, but first, let's read this article for you to see the naivety of idiots who have been brainwashed by albino supremacy to think that the features of the color of the eyes is only associated with the scum of the earth, albinos, anybody with straight hair, children of Satan. Let's read this now. It says here, one of the many magical things about black people is our undeniable diversity. Every sort of diversity about humanity is found only in blacks. You have to understand that. Every diversity is found only in blacks. In albinos, there is no such thing as diversity. They are all the same. Go take a look. Behavior, thoughts. You could put an albino, right? Okay? In a situation and know exactly what the outcome is going to be. It is going to be the same across all albinos, anybody with straight hair. That is how predictable albinos are. And so the albino supremacists, the white supremacists who run the world, know how predictable albinos, anybody with straight hair, are. They know that if you impute A, the result is always going to come out the other way in the same manner and fashion that you imputed it. So they know if you say, because the world is so stupid, black people are stupid because they follow after albino supremacy, right? They follow after albinism. They love the albinos, right? They know that if you set up and do something, right, to the albino community, that this is the result that is going to come out, the outcome, and that everybody else who's been fooled by albino supremacy will follow that outcome. That is how the world is run. Because naturally, you can't control black people. Go take a look, go figure. Go look at all the black people around you. You can't control them. You tell them do this, they're gonna do that. The only way you can control them is through albinism, albinos, anybody with straight hair, supremacy, the scum of the earth, who have been propped up to make you believe that they are the most intelligent people in the world. So, how the society is run, how the world is run by albinos, because these people know that albinos, anybody with straight hair, are very predictable. You input A, you're gonna get the same result out from the input of A. If you say the predictable outcome of input A is equal to B for albinos is always going to come out that way. So since the black people, the black idiots are led by albino supremacists, once they see that albinos are acting this way, they believe it and run with it. And that's how black people are controlled. So do you understand why they told you that COVID-19 started in Asia? Albinos, the country where you have 90% albinos? Because they know the predictability of stupid albinos, anybody with straight hair. They know that once you give them this input A and they run with it, everybody else is going to believe that COVID-19 is real. That is why it started in what? In Asia. Then from where it started in Asia, United States now became the country with the most COVID-19 cases. Isn't that crazy? They said that people died in COVID-19 in the United States. Why? Because albinos, predictability of stupid idiots albinos, senile albinos, they understand if you give them A, B is gonna come out and everybody else is gonna believe that this bullshit is real. And that is exactly what happened. So immediately you give the albinos something to run with. You know that you are a success because they are children of Satan. They are going to do exactly as the demons that they are infested with tell them to. And black people are going to believe because they love albinos. Anybody with straight hair, the most intelligent. Ooh, an albino, the white man. The white man said so. It must be true. Look at how the white man does things. Can we do things like that? That is what exactly happens. So, every diversity in this world, the uniqueness of human nature is all domiciled in black people. Albinos, anybody with straight hair, are not diverse. They are all the same. They act the same, think the same, wicked the same, emotion the same. As we continue reading, it says, we come in so many different skin tones, hair textures, eye colors, the list goes on. However, with that often comes ignorant ideas and remarks from those still unaware of just how diverse our phenotypes can be. Did you see that? Because we've been taught that albinism is diverse. No. What is so diverse about the color white? I want to ask you. Just take a look at white. But with black, you can have so many hues and shades of black. Isn't that wonderful? Black people come in so many shades and hues, right? All right, let's continue on. So the question we now ask is this finally, let's answer it, because we've been trying to answer it and we haven't arrived because we always need to lay a foundation before we get to the answer. Why do people have blue, green eyes, hazel eyes, almond eyes, and every eye color that's not black or brown? The answer is this: because of cousins inbreeding for 4 generations. This is the simple answer. This is the answer which a lot of people do not know. Now, when you find blue eyes, green eyes, right, hazel eyes, and any other color of eye that's not black or brown on an albino, anybody with straight hair, it means that in their generation, they had both cousins, right, and siblings, because once you procreate with siblings, you come out as an albino, pale skin, straight hair. Once you procreate with your cousins, okay, what happens is that the albinism now becomes a recessive trait. And it's only if you keep on procreating for so long that the person will now be an albino. So that's why when you find black people having straight hair, but they still can identify themselves as black, it means that they are albinos who were inbreeding by their cousins. All right? They've been inbreeding by their cousins, but they were not inbreeding directly with their cousins. So what does that mean? So let's say if in a community, in a small community, cousins started inbreeding, all right? But they are not directly related. They are going to come out after the 4th generation having straight hair. They will still look black, but the hair is going to be straight and fine. You find out with some black Americans, they have straight hair, all right? And they call it fine hair because they are associated now with albinos, because everything that's beautiful, as we've been believed, comes from albinos, right? Blacks are just ugly. That's what we've been told. That is the mindset of Satanism. The ugliest people in the world, as we can see every day, they grow old quick, they have long torsos, their women have wide shoulders like men, have no butt. Besides, when they wear tight-fitting clothes to deceive you, are all albinos. Anybody with straight hair, they are the ugliest people in the world. They have no strength. They age real quick. The only time you will see an ugly black man who is still much more beautiful than the most beautiful albinos is one who is in poverty. He has no food to eat. He's sick because he has no food to eat. He's not eating the right food. That is only the time that you see an ugly black person. And even in his ugliness, he can still produce strength, the beauty of the Creator, which is blackness. And he's more beautiful than the most beautiful albino, anybody with straight hair that you can see. All beauty is black, and you're going to find that more. So getting back to what we're saying, when you find black people having blue eyes, okay, green eyes, hazel eyes, almond eyes, it means that their parents are cousins and are directly related for at least 4 generations in their family. Did you hear that now? So any color of eyes that is not black or brown means that your parents are cousins directly related for 4 generations. That means that their grandparents were also cousins directly related, okay? And the parents of those grandparents were also cousins directly related. So in the 4th generation, when your parents got married, directly related as cousins, you now have an eye color that's not black or brown. It comes out blue, hazel, almond, gray, or green in black people. Now, for black people who have straight hair, okay, it means that you are related by your cousins. It means that your parents are cousins, but they are not directly related. That means there was an intermittent break in which one married another cousin that they were not directly related to. Does that make sense? Figured it out. I've spelled it out for you so you know what we're saying. Now, for albinos, they are already albinic. So having any color of eyes that's not black or brown does not mean that you are not an albino. That means you're both related. Your ancestry is both related by siblings, nuclear family, and cousins. Does that make sense? That means your family is both related by nuclear family relations. That means father was sleeping with daughter, mother was sleeping with son, siblings were procreating together, uncles and nieces, nephews were procreating together, as well as cousins. So that's why you have a mixture of both the dominant trait of being an albino, all right, and also have the recessive trait showing that you're also directly related by your cousins in your parents. If you have eyes that are any other color besides being brown or black. So this goes to show you that there is nothing beautiful about having blue eyes, green eyes, hazel eyes, almond eyes, it just shows that your parents are directly related by being cousins for at least 4 generations. So everybody who's saying, I want my man to have blue eyes, you are a child of Satan. Because people do not know this. When you like unnatural order, pay attention. If you as a person like unnatural order, you like things that are unique. Because unique thing means it's an unnatural order. Pay attention now. It means that you are a child of Satan. You like evil. You do not go after the commandments of the Creator. A demon is warring you. Let's continue on with some more pictures. So we pulled this picture just to show you. Now this is a black African. You can see black man. There's no denying this, right? Because the other picture, someone might say, I don't believe it. I don't believe me. Maybe Sydney Black just got some contacts on her. All right, so we're pulling out. You can see right now, this is a poor African black boy oppressed by albino supremacy. The scum of the earth albinos, anybody with straight hair, who have taken all the jobs and ripped Africa of its resources with the help of the people who support albino supremacy in Africa. All right? Because this is what the African leaders are doing. In order for them to have that power, they have to allow albino supremacists. If you're not in the occult, you will not know this information. Lay black people know it, but they do not know it at the highest level as we are speaking right now. They just know that in order to succeed, they have to marry an albino, anybody with straight hair, scum of the earth woman, and procreate with to get traction. But at the highest level, it's totally something else, and only the politicians in Africa who went and brought out albinos because they were following after Satan. In order for them to succeed, they had to prop up albinism. So if you're looking at this child right now, you can see that this is a poor African boy who has no food to eat, but he has blue eyes. And can you see that the color of his eyes are yellow? They are not white. The white round here is yellow because the natural eye color of all humanity right here in this part is yellow. It is not white. The natural color of teeth is yellow. Your teeth only gets white as you whiten it with whiteness. If you leave your teeth and just brush without using any teeth whiteness, all right, it turns yellow because that is the natural color. There is nothing white in the human body naturally. And if you eat all the albino food that humanity is eating today, then you start having more whiteness in your eyes. So we just wanted to show you this picture to make you understand that black people have blue eyes. And it shows that this child, that his parents are directly related as cousins for at least 4 generations. Let's continue on. So since we showed you that for the stupid, people who are still suffering from ignorance and denial, because a lot of people are filled with so much demons, no matter the truth that you show them, they still live in denial. So we still have to keep on doing this so that there will be evidence against you that you heard the truth and you denied it. Okay? So that when you end up in the lake of fire, you will be under no illusions because you heard it here. Now, these are all black celebrities that you know. And if you look at their eyes, they all have a shade of gray, almond blue, all right, to green eyes. Over here, you have Regina King. You can look at those eyes, all right? Let's blow this up. Look at that. Those are almond. If you want to call it green, if you want to call it brown, because they are all shades, this are the eyes that are not black or brown. So what does this mean? It means that Regina King's parents, whosoever her parents are directly related as being cousins for at least 4 generations. Do you get that now? Now over here you have Beyonce, a male, a man transgendered into being a female, told to the world is very beautiful. Now looking at those eyes are not black or dark brown as they should be for the normal color of the human pupil. So what does this mean? It means that Beyonce's parents are directly related cousins for at least what? 4 generations. Do you understand now? All right. Here is who? Rihanna. When you look at those eyes, what color is it? You can call it green. All right? You can call it almond. Right? But what does this mean? It means that Rihanna's parents are directly related by at least 4 generations. All right? And that their parents are cousins, directly related. All right? Let's go over here. Who do you have? Michael Ealy, right? Black. All these people are black, right? You all identify and see it and know that they are black, right? So Michael Ealy's eyes, what color is it? It's blue. Blue or gray, if that's what you want to call it. What does this mean? It means that Michael Ealy's parents are directly related for at least 4 generations. So, for all the black people, especially black Americans who think that they are unique because they have straight hair, right? And look albinos, and that they have blue eyes, and that Africans are not so pretty looking, and they look down on Africans and think that Africans are dumb and stupid and everything else, and that they know better than Africans. What does your eye color now mean and your straight hair? It means that your folks have been inbreeding. That's what it means. And whenever there is inbreeding, what happens? There is senility, a lack and an inability to be able to think and have real intelligence or common sense. Do you understand what's going on now? Let's continue on with Legends of Roll Call. So we've arrived at the part where things starts getting interesting now, all right? And this is the Legends of Roll Call. It's the foundation for the destruction of all legends, because the occult, which is run by wicked albinos, anybody with straight hair, supremacists, children of Satan, right, have used hidden knowledge so that they can run the world and that we should all bow down to them. They have created every form of disease and sickness. There are no real sicknesses in the world. We've already told you that. AIDS does not exist. Cancer is not a disease. Cancer is a poison caused by eating all the abominable food that people do eat. And instead of the wicked medical industry to tell you what cancer is, what do? So that you do not know and grow your own food and become independent, they create drugs which kill you. All the cancer treatment does not cure cancer because it comes from the food. We don't have time to explain that on this video, but we'll tell you how to get rid of your cancer if you're interested when you get to the shape of our world. This is not the video for it. And we are not going to help any wicked people to keep on living. We want all of them to die real quick. So, this is the destruction of all legends. And one of the most popular legends which albinos, anybody with straight hair, use to look down on black people, the scum of the earth, the children of Satan, look down on creation, the people whom they owe their existence to. they always tell you, you were slaves. Black people are slaves. Well, if you believe that black people, let us rephrase that statement now so you get what we're trying to say. If you believe that an albino, the weak scum of the earth albino, who cannot win 100 meters finals in the Olympics,
Usain. Andre de Grasse, at 21 years of age, the youngest man in the final. Then Métis, carrying the hopes of Côte d'Ivoire, and Johan Blake, Bolt's fellow Jamaican. It's been a moment that has been 120 years in the making at the modern Olympic Games. Is Usain Bolt about to rewrite the record books again? Gatlin got a good enough start. Bolt was a bit slow to begin. He's got some work to do. Gatlin's in front. Bolt stretching out now. He's coming after him. He's immortal now.
If you believe that an albino, the weak scum of the earth albino, who cannot win 100 meters finals in the Olympics, all right, or wall athletics, who cannot jump, who is always sick, because albinism in itself is a sickness, who is always sick, cannot run, cannot dance, all right, got on a boat and traveled all the way to Africa where strong people lived and had a couple of guns, and he pulled Africans from their tribes, okay, from their nations, from their ethnicities. He went and he did it over and over and over again. And Africans, who are the strongest of humanity in everything, right, sold their own people, or that this albino scum of the earth, the weakest of the weakest, who cannot run, who cannot do anything, who survived the heat of Africa, took African people as slaves and brought them to North America and enslaved them, and they are today's Black Americans. I want you to take a gun and shoot yourself in the head, because you are a child of Satan for looking with your eyes and refusing to see the truth, the weakness of albinos, anybody with straight hair, the senility of albinos who cannot even think for themselves, who are predictable in every behavior, who cannot go through hard labor or hard work that you do and will faint and will die. That they came to Africa, to the strongest people in the world, and took them as slaves. You are indeed a child of Satan if you believe that story. Just die right now and let this be over. Because the more people believe these stupid stories that albinos, anybody with straight hair, tell you, the more people die. And COVID-19 is possible because of your stupid belief that a white man ever did anything in this world, discovered anything. Or that an albino, anybody with straight hair, ever discovered anything. So we are saying categorically here now, I want you to pay attention, because we are going to destroy this totally. By the time you're done with this video, because we show you with facts, slavery never happened. We are not the only one to say that right here for you to listen for the very first time. Slavery never happened. An albino, anybody with straight hair, never came to Africa and shipped African people as slaves. Africans never sold any of their own as slaves. This is all made up stories to control the mindset of black people, to think lower than themselves, and not to take away the power of the children of Satan over them. An albino, anybody with straight hair, never did anything, and you are going to see proof of that on this video. Slavery never happened. I'm not the only one to say it. You've probably heard a lot of people say it, because when we look at the history of what they call slavery, they've never actually shown us any real pictures. They just show you black people on a farm. People farming on a farm does not show slavery. Farming still goes on today. If someone takes a picture of, let's say, a Hispanic in Mexico farming, growing tomatoes, or growing oranges as you would find in the countryside like in Florida or California, and shows it to you, does that represent slavery? Let's pull up a picture. So here are two pictures, right? On the right of it is pictures that you normally see when they show you slavery. They show black people on a plantation. And an albino, the scum of the earth, the children of Satan, will say, oh, black people were enslaved. We did so many bad things to these people, right? We did so many bad things to these people. And that's what they'll say. So that's the common image that you see right here. Black people, the picture is usually in black and white, of black people in a farm showing how they were slaves, right? On the left over here, you have Mexicans on a farm somewhere in Mexico. If you look closely at the picture, you can see that these are Mexicans because they are also albinos. Anybody with straight hair, the scum of the earth, children of Satan on the left. Both pictures are in black and white. Why is it that over here you see black people on a farm and they are slaves? And the scum of the earth, albinos, anybody with straight hair on the left, are also on a farm, but they are not slaves. And both pictures are in black and white. Do you see how stupid people are? How ignorant people are? And when we try to show them the truth, they think that we are trying to maybe tell them something, or maybe try to sell them something. All what we are trying to show you is common sense. Why is it an assumption that both pictures in black and white, you look at this one over here and you believe they are slaves, and this one doing the same exact thing are not? Why? Because Satan is the one running this world. And everybody who does not do the commandments of the Creator is under witchcraft, sorcery, wizard, mind control of Satan, not to see their reality that's right before their eyes. So what does that mean? Most people will never see the evil that's going on right in front of them. Neither will they see the truth. Why? Because they are children of Satan. They believe what they're told and have no common sense to reason and to think. They believe what they are told over what their eyes see. Slavery never ever happened. And there is a picture, we already showed you that picture earlier, of black people being shipped on a boat. They were not in chains. They did not look like they were not well fed. There were no whips, no lashes on their body, as TV and movies always try to show you. Why has slavery been believed that slavery ever happened? Because white supremacy, anybody with straight hair, make all types of slave movies every year, write all the books on slavery, but they've never ever showed us a real picture of slavery. There are no slave ships found anywhere that was used to pack people as they show you in these movies or write about in history books. Not one. They take you to an old building, all right, and tell you that this is where slaves were kept, that it was a slave house. What does a slave house look like? Let me ask you guys that. What does it look like? Does it have any specification that a slave house has to have maybe 10 rooms? Because people still build houses with 10 rooms up till today. Is there any specification that says that there has to be like 5 houses on one plot of land for it to be a slave house? People still build 5 houses on plots of land till today. So what is the definition of a slave house? There is none. Someone just walks and points a hand and says this is where slaves were kept, and people believe it. Because as long as we refuse common sense, reasoning, mind and truth, it means that you are a child of Satan. And we've already shown you all the indications so far of people who are children of Satan by the way they look in their appearance and by their actions of what they do. We've mentioned so much, so if you want to remember everybody that we have told you the attributes, start again, Legends of Roll Call, start from part 1 till this part. Slavery never happened. It never. It is impossible for albinos, anybody with straight hair, the scum of the earth, who cannot run, who are not strong, who are physically incapable of any athletic activity besides one which is fabricated for them to prosper in, such as NASCAR, such as golf, such as lawn tennis, right? Such as all those sports which can be controlled by what? By decisions, by rigging, such as soccer. We already told you on roll call that if you put an albino, anybody with straight hair, on a soccer pitch who runs so much, and tell him run this 100 meters with a black person, they fail. Why is that? Because all these sports are created by albino supremacy to make you believe in albinism. A picture paints 1,000 words. You don't have to say anything. The picture is going to speak for you. So if an albino player scores 100 goals, what is the mindset created in anybody who watches it? He's very skillful. And what do you believe? Albinos are very skillful. That is how pictures are used to control your mindset. Because if, for example, an alien came into this world and he watched TV, he would see only albinos, the scum of the earth, the children of Satan on TV. Because TV, every movie that you watch is mostly white, set in a white background, right? So let's say that alien came and went to a hotel and did not go out anywhere, just stayed in his room and watched TV. On TV, he would see mostly albinos, anybody with straight hair being presented, right? In all TV stations. What assumption would that alien make in that room? He would believe that the whole world is white. He would believe that the whole world is made of albinos, anybody with straight hair. Now, if that alien comes out of the room, okay, and he starts seeing black people, if that alien has no common sense or reasoning, he will believe what the TV told him over what he sees with his eyes, that there are more black people than albinos in the world. This is the truth. There are more black people than albinos. Now, if this alien now went into Africa, which is the largest continent in the world, and all the continents in the world put together, Asia, Europe, North and South America will fit into only 1/8. Did you hear what I said? Will fit into only 1/8 the land mass of Africa. That's how huge Africa is. If this alien went into Africa and traveled all around Africa and found out that Africa is so huge and it's a sea of black folk, when the alien gets back in his hotel room and watches television, what do you think he is going to say? If he, by travel with common sense and his own notes make, he would know that the television is telling him a lie, is painting him a false reality for him to live his life over what he sees with his eyes. And this is the reality of what is happening to everybody in this world. This is the reason why white supremacy created such a thing as passports and immigration, barriers to limit people from traveling and seeing the world. And because they have propped up albino supremacy, the only people who get to travel the world as much as they can, because they are given all the jobs and all the money, are only albinos. But albinos, anybody with straight hair, have no common sense. They are senile. So having no common sense, they are not able to understand and put things together. So they will never let you know the truth. Because why? They are children of Satan. Children of Satan will never tell you the truth. Even if they try to tell you the truth, it will come out as a lie. Because Satan is incapable of telling you the truth. If Satan saw something black now and you asked him what color it is, everybody sees it's black. He's gonna say, it's kind of off-white. That is how Satan is speak. They are incapable of telling the truth. So white supremacy created all these bottlenecks. All right? So that black people who they have oppressed, who are the poorest of society, will not have the time or money to travel the world and see it for themselves. And since the world is led by albino supremacists and black people who do not practice the commandments of the Creator and do the commandments of the Creator, they live their lives by what they are told instead of what their eyes see. Right? They will also believe, because they follow after albinos, anybody with straight hair, the scum of the earth, the children of Satan. They will believe what TV tells them, what the history books tells them, what the educational system tells them, what the religious system tells them, what the leaders of black people tell them, over what they see with their eyes. Why? Because white supremacy, albino supremacy, anybody with straight hair supremacy, the scum of the earth is their God. That is why the commandment had said, you shall not put anything in this world higher than the Creator. But with everybody in this world, they have done that. COVID-19 is now their God. Go to some churches today. You will see that they maintain 6 feet of separation and they wear a mask. What does that mean? It means that COVID-19 is their God. COVID-19 is greater than the Creator. The Creator said, you shall have, putting it in context, because the word did not actually say, you shall have no other gods. It means you shall have no other creator besides me, and you shall not inbreed. That was the commandment, which was changed, which we're going to show you. So everybody who believes in anything, no matter what they've told you, because a lot of people today, their lives are governed by COVID-19. And if COVID-19 is greater than the creator, which you have believed, because COVID-19 is now regulating everything they do in their lives, what does that mean? You are a child of Satan. You have made something, a disease, to be greater than the creator. And meanwhile, there are no real diseases in the world. There are no real diseases. Go take a look. We've showed you before and talked about AIDS. In AIDS, there is no pathogen. It's the first time in history in which a disease has no pathogen. It has no virus, it has no bacteria. It is only known by the amount of white blood cells that you have in your body, increase in white blood cells, which is caused by poisons, because everything white in the human body is evil, is corruption. AIDS has no pathogen, but it is labeled a disease. There are no real diseases. Cancer is of the same type, the same definition as AIDS, because AIDS has an increase. The way they identify it is that you have an increase of white blood cells. In cancer, you have also an increase of white blood cells. Same thing. But there's no pathogen. There's no disease in there. There's no virus. There's no virus that can be attributed to any of this. But yet it is a disease. Do you see how stupid people are? Because once you put anything above the creator in anything that you do, that thing is greater. It's a legend. It holds your mind. You are a child of Satan. You have broken the commandment that says you shall not, by believing in something else that's greater. So, as we were trying to explain all along, slavery does not exist. There is no evidence. And based on the truth as you have known now, that albinos who are unathletic, not strong in any way, shape, or form, they cannot even do hard labor. Go into all the industries that do real hard labor. What you will find is blacks. I can speak for myself because I have done hard labor. So there was this company at one point in time called National Retail Transportation that I worked for. Okay, it's a company that has to do with the movement of goods and services and warehousing retail for Target, right, in North America. I worked as security there. Now, in this company, the work, because this particular National Retail Transportation yard does not have a covered outpost. So that means when you're working in the sun and you're working in the rain, right? And we were doing security. 90% of the security staff was black. 90% of them. The only person who came in as an albino who stayed for a very long time was from Pakistan. But the rest were all black. Why is that the case? Because black people are stronger. They are able to endure in the terrain of great heat all the time. If you notice during the summer, what happens during the summertime in the United States? You have albinos fainting everywhere of heat. Go figure how many black people faint in heat during the summer. Compare and contrast. You will find out it's mostly albinos, 90% albinos. So at this work that I did as a security agent, okay, it was 90% black. My direct boss was a black man, okay? But the boss on top of that black man was an albino, scum of the earth Mexican. If you went into the offices of this National Retail Transportation Yard, which was covered up and had air conditioning and everything, inside was 90% scum of the earth albinos, anybody with straight hair, and very few black people, and one of them happened to be my boss, whom I worked directly under. But when you go outside in the elements, in which summertime there is heat, all right, and rain, and winter and cold, the people who were checking in the trucks, checking out the trucks, opening the gates, were all black, with less than 10% albinos. Every albino that came in on that job did not last for up to a week. Because the job did not just mean that you would stay in one place. You'd be walking up to, like, say, 50 meters to a truck, checking in the truck, and then walking back again to the gate to open it continually. And these trucks were moving in non-stop for every single day. So if you're working for 8 hours, there would be 8 hours of truck movement up and down. And they were all black people. And I said that the only albino who lasted there was somebody from Pakistan. And why did he last so long? He did not have his papers. He did not have anywhere else to go. So the job brought him to National Retail Transportation. So he had to be stuck there. So if he was not there, the whole entire staff of the National Retail Transportation Yard would have been black. This is the truth. Albinos, anybody with straight hair, are not strong. Every form of strength shown to you on television is only to lie to you, so that what you see with your eyes, you will disbelieve for what you see for the lies on television. Because the television is only for one thing, is to create a mindset that makes you to denounce your reality and believe what you are told. Albinos, anybody with straight hair, supremacists. And Satan created that to control the mindset of black people, because you always have to remember this. Without black people being controlled by albinism, anybody with straight hair supremacy, Satan cannot run this world, because black people cannot be controlled. You can only control them through whiteness, through evil. That is how it works. Now, people see this kind of pictures a lot. You see them traveling around and showing you pictures that this is how albinos, anybody with straight hair, enslaved black people all around the world. In this case, you're looking at the Aborigines of Australia, all right? Now, these pictures are all fabrications. Why are they fabrications? It's because, as we're going to show you as we get along on the Legends of Roll Call, is that albinos, anybody with straight hair, came into North and South America, Australia in the 1850s. 1850s is 171 years from 2021. It's barely a long time ago. It's not even up to 200 years. So that means that these pictures are lies, because according to history, according to the false history they tell us that slaves were shipped in the 1600s. But if, as we have presented before, because this is not the first time that we are telling you this information, and we're going to show you with evidence and facts that albinos, anybody with straight hair, came into North and South America and the rest of the world in the 1850s, it means that this picture of slavery cannot be true, and it's a fabrication. Now, most people, because people have no common sense, do not understand that the only people that you find in chains, even up till today, are people who are in jails. People who get put in handcuffs, all right? And people who get put in chains are criminals. So what would this picture represent to you? It would represent that these are criminals right here, black criminals, who are put in chains. Slavery never happened. You will never find no ships. You will never find any evidence of slavery beside the movies that they make to you. So that's why, for example, every year or thereabout, there's always a movie about slavery. For example, Harriet Tubman. That is a fabrication. And in order to make this fabrication real, because people, you have to understand this. If you tell a lie for so long, it is believed as truth. If people do not know their history or did not write it down. So this is what albino supremacists have mastered, the art of storytelling. They've mastered it to create a false reality to control people, because you cannot control someone physically if you do not control their minds. This is how it works. Control the mind, you control someone physically. The mind is the most powerful entity that does exist in a man. It is from your mind that people get sick, besides the fact that you can get physically poisoned. But the sicknesses first comes from your mind because of everything that you have believed and you have been told by albino supremacists. Your mind is your doorway, and we're gonna get into that full explanation on Shape of a World. This is not the video for it. So, the mind is the most powerful thing. Everything that has to do with control starts with the human mind. And the human mind can only be controlled by what? Whiteness. Evil. Representation of evil. That is how things work. So these pictures that you're seeing right here is a fabrication. Because if albinos, as you can tell from this picture, from the way he's dressing, that this is an 1800 dressing, manner of dressing. It can be from the 1600s. Just by looking at this dressing of this albino, straight-haired fella, scum of the earth. The only people who get put in chains till today are criminals. That is the obvious truth. Now, one more thing on how these pictures are fabricated and made us to believe that albinos, anybody with straight hair, enslaved black people, is that if you find out these pictures, because pay attention now, all right? Just pay attention and listen. In the 1600s, when slavery happened, there were no cameras. Cameras were not invented in the 1600s. Go study the history of cameras. There were no cameras in the 1600s. None whatsoever. If there was a camera in the 1600s, let them show you a picture from the 1600s and prove it. All you had was drawings. Cameras were made in the late 1700s. Close to the 1800s. This picture right here is nothing more than was shot recently in the early 1900s. This picture right here. So if they present a picture to you like this and tell you that this is what slavery was about, they are lying. There were no cameras in the 1600s, which they said that the albinos came to Africa and that they took Africans as slaves and Africans sold their people as slaves to these albino weak people who cannot run, who cannot jump, who cannot dance, who cannot do anything athletic, who cannot survive in the heat. Because you've never been to Africa to understand that the heat that you have in the summer in North America, right, is nothing but like, let's say, a cakewalk. That is the truth. When you go to Africa, you will experience what real heat is. Summer here in the North America continent is nothing. Even if you were to go out to the hottest desert in North America, the heat is still nothing. When you get in the Sahara Desert and you get into anywhere in Africa, in West Africa, all right, you will understand the real meaning of heat. So this is what we are trying to make you understand, that you have just been told stories to control your mindset, because you do not do the commandments of the Creator, and Satan will have a hold of you. And when that happens, it means you're a child of Satan and you're going to the lake of fire, which is very real. We've tried to show you that this is real. The volcanoes that you see every day shows you evidence it is real. But people are still playing around with it. And we're going to answer why we have volcanoes on Legends of Roll Call later on. So you will have a very clear understanding of what's going on here. So there were no cameras in the 1600s. Absolutely. So for someone to present this picture to you and tell you that these people in chains are slaves because you see this, they are telling you a lie. There are no cameras of any pictures in the 1600s. It's from the 1800s, from the late 1800s, that you have cameras. This is the truth. So any pictures presented to you as pictures of slavery are all fabricated, and they're in black and white for a specific reason, so that they can be photoshopped. Because I can guarantee you for sure that this man standing right here has been photoshopped into this picture. I can guarantee you, because of the way and manner the people are sitting, looking. This man right here, he's been fabricated into this picture. That means in the picture when he was taken, he was not there. This is how history is made. Now, if you pay particular attention, let's show you that this picture is fabricated so you guys can see it. So if you pay particular attention to the details of this picture, you'll find out that it's Photoshop. So for one, if you notice right here, all this area, all right, around where this albino is standing right here, you will notice that it's black. So follow my mouse. This is the demarcation, right? It's black right here. Follow, follow, follow. And then this area right here is wider than this area, right? Can you see that? And if you go down right here around this particular portion, you find out that the image does not make any sense. Like where his arms are right here, all right? The image looks like it was cut from the way it is being drawn right here. If it's clear enough on your screen, you will notice that, because this is photoshopped. The image does not align well. The arms do not align well from the elbows. It looks like somebody took some sort of cutting, a pencil tool on Photoshop, and then drew out this and then cut it. So if you look, this area right here is wider and this area is darker. That means there is some sort of Photoshop, and it's very, very possible that this man never stood in this picture. So a lot of the pictures that you look at, which is shown to you as pictures of slavery, are from the 1800s. From 1850 actually, which is about just 171 years ago, when albinos, anybody with straight hair, the scum of the earth, were immigrated by the Vatican into North and South America and the rest of the world to control the minds of black people. Because the only way you can control black people is by Satanism. And Satanism is albinism, because albinism is the opposite of humanity. is the opposite of blackness, which the Creator made the whole world in, including black people. And we all came out from the blackness. As you can see that day and night, if there is no light, everything around you is black. Let's continue with Legends of Roll Call.